Welcome to the Finding the Magic podcast, where books come alive. I'm Tricia Copeland, a fiction author and host of this show. If you love books, finding great reads, and hearing about the story behind the story directly from the authors, this is the place for you. Whether you like fantasy, science fiction, dystopian, or romance titles, I think you'll find something to love in my playlist. Listen in to discover something magical about a book or two today.
Welcome, Lauren.
Thank you.
Super excited to have Lauren Lipp. She is a romance author are you from Wyoming?
I'm not. I'm from Northern Colorado.
Okay. We met in Wyoming in
Yes.
Laramie at the Bonsai and Books or something like that. The Bonsai bookstore from Cheyenne and the Blue Mountain bookstore, Bonsai and Blue. I think that was it. Blue Mountain bookstore from Laramie hosted in November. So that was super fun. Sadly, Blue Mountain bookstore is online. So you
Okay.
can visit their bookstore online. And I think there's talk of like a mobile book truck for the summer or something. So
Oh,
that might
fun.
be very cool. Yeah. But I think Bonsai is closed now. So that was sad. But
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
I was sad to hear about that. But that event was really fun. I was happy I was able to attend that.
Yeah, it was super fun. I didn't know what to expect, but I love Laramie. We go there as much as possible. So, yeah, it was fun to do.
Yeah.
Well, Lauren's book is Dare You to Choose Truth, right? The
Yes.
Set List Secrets series, and there's a bus on the front cover. So I'm thinking this has to do something with a music theme, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Most of the novel actually takes place on a tour bus. So that's where the bus is.
That would be a setting that would be challenging to write, I would think.
Yeah, it was. It's funny because when I initially had the idea, and it's a series, so most of the books, excluding a prequel that I wrote, will also take place on a tour bus. And going into that, I thought, oh man, what am I getting myself into? Can I set a book on a tour bus? Is this going to be challenging? And there were parts that were challenging, but overall, it was actually really fun.
No,
So.
I can imagine some really fun scenes with those parameters and those restraints, I guess.
Yeah.
Forced proximity. I mean, you got a lot of tropes in there.
Oh yeah, you can't write a book set on a tour bus without forced proximity. It is the most forced proximity.
Except maybe Artemis, right? So,
Yeah.
we'll jump in, tell us about the characters. Who are we going to meet here?
Yes, yeah. So the first book in the Setlist Secret series, Dare You to Choose Truth, follows a music journalist. Her name is Prudence. And at the beginning of the story, she has just recently come off of kind of a controversial story that she wrote and published that quite a few people are a little bit angry at her about. And so she's really nervous about her next assignment, but she gets assigned to go on tour with Nasher, which is a 90s grunge band. And this band was very popular at like the peak of grunge music in 1996. They broke up in the late 90s and nobody knows why they broke up. And the lead singer actually kind of went completely off grid. But then very recently, one of their songs went viral. And so they decided to get back together for a reunion tour. And so she gets assigned to go on this bus with them and kind of follow them around and report on the tour. But her boss mostly expects her to figure out why the band broke up in the late 90s. So she's a little bit nervous about this because of this previous story that she just published. And then when she gets on the bus, she meets one of the band managers, McAllister, who is recently discovered a secret about the band that he feels like he needs to keep hidden. And so having Prudence on the bus is a really big threat to that. And so they kind of butt heads a little bit. He really doesn't want her there, and she kind of has to be there. So chaos ensues from there.
And okay, so make sure everybody's clear on this. It is an adult novel, and it does have adult scenes. So just so people know the content of the book, which can be fun, and that's awesome. What is the main character's name, first name?
Prudence.
Prudence. You said that, and I'm like, okay, my brain did a blip. So it's interesting that you put Prudence with truth.
Yes.
I like that. I'm a sucker for names that match and mean something.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, it's funny because the main reason I actually picked that name for the main character initially was a nod to the Beatles song, Dear Prudence.
Uh,
And then the Dare You to Choose Truth title comes from, well, they get bored on the tour bus a lot. And so they do play Truth or Dare once in a while. So that's where that came from, but it synced up very nicely that that was her name and that was the title.
Fun, yeah. Like I always go back to like two truths and a lie game, right?
Yes, yes.
And what made you decide to set this or set these romances like in a music world or music setting?
Yeah, so maybe obvious from my background. I really love music and if writing is my first passion, music is a very close second. And I'm actually not a musician at all. I just love music. My dad was a musician, so I grew up around music. My husband is a musician, and I just kind of grew this love for music and more specifically live music. So I love going to concerts and I love seeing bands and musicians perform live. And so I really wanted to put that love and that passion into a story. And Prudence is also not a musician. And I didn't base Prudence off of myself, but the one thing that the two of us share is that love for music. Even though we aren't musicians, we still have a big passion for it, listening to it and engaging with it. And so that was something I really, really wanted to put into this story and kind of, you know, emphasize. And I guess it's technically considered a rock star romance, but it doesn't involve the rock stars in the romance necessarily. Throughout the series, it will be, but that was really important for me in the first book to kind of tell that story of, someone who really loves music, but maybe doesn't play music.
I'm in that boat too. I mean, I was in the band in high school, but I just love listening to music and I'm not a very good musician. So that
I'm not either. My
tons of
dad
people
tried
in that boat.
desperately, like when I was younger, to get me into, he tried to teach me to play drums and tried to get me to have an interest in playing the trumpet or the guitar or something. And it just was not my jam. I was like, I just want to listen to it.
Well, it seems like with your husband and your dad being musicians, you also have a lot of scenes to draw from, maybe.
Yes, yeah, yeah. Well, and it's great too because I have a lot of knowledge about music, but not super technical knowledge about music. But I have two great people to ask those questions to that are very readily available to me.
What kind of speakers are they setting up here, and how big are those speakers?
All the things that you don't really think about, but you're in a scene, and especially, later on in the series that will come out later, those ones are based on some of the musicians in the story. So especially when I get to those scenes, describing playing a guitar, I'm like, I have no idea.
You put your fingers on the strings.
Yes.
Well, my other question would have been, well, is this speaker big enough to have sex on? Right?
Yeah, well, you know what? For a spicy romance novel, that might come up. I'll keep that in
That
mind.
might, yeah. Gotta make sure your facts are right. Or
Right?
the
Yeah.
person will be like, no, that speaker is way too small. That would be really uncomfortable.
Well, and somebody would find that and be like, absolutely not. That's not possible. So I'll make
You
sure it's
messed it up.
possible.
Yeah. So that's interesting that you mentioned the romance or rock star romance trope, or is it trope or genre? I guess, yeah, because I guess is it Rockstar? Or is it just rock romance? I don't
I think,
know.
yeah, as far as I know, it's like like the subgenre is rock star romance. But again, I have a hard time calling at least this first book a rock star romance. I would consider the subgenre more of music romance because that's really what the plot centers around, whether it's the rock stars or the musicians that are actually in the romance or the main character or not. I still feel like it falls under that subgenre.
Right. Yeah. Is that one you could actually choose on Amazon when you're publishing?
Rockstar Romance?
Yeah.
Yes, it
Oh,
is.
cool.
Yeah, yeah.
You could really, yeah, I mean, I'm kind of in the clean romance section, so I hadn't noticed that one before, but
Yeah.
fun.
Yep, it's in there.
So is it a happily ever after? Do we get or a happily for now or
Yes, yeah. So, all my books are happily ever afters, and the series, I guess they could be read as standalones, but they do really interlock with each other. And the romances, each book is a happily ever after. But throughout the series, I really do also want to tell this story of why the band broke up and how they got back together and
Okay.
kind of mending this friendship too. So hopefully that'll lead to this like bigger overall happily ever after too at the end.
That's a very cool premise. I don't think I've seen that done in a romance series before. Like seeing like I mean, it's kind of almost like, yeah, now kind of what am I thinking of it? Sort of like, I don't know. Anyway, I can't think of something off the top of my head, but you have a little story going on in the front, and they
Yes.
may just be like 30-minute series, but then you have this overarching like storyline. That's very cool. That's
Yeah,
really
thank
sweet.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get that feel good in there. Well, the romances are feel good. I guess you get a bonus feel good.
Yes, yeah, it is. It's kind of like a two for one. Each book has its own kind of character arc and plot arc, I guess I should say, but that's really what I'm trying to build is this overarching arc throughout the plot of the band and this like found family trope, because I love that trope as well. So,
And so I'm guessing each book is going to be one of the band member, the same band, Nasher, this theoretical or made up
yeah.
band. So it's either going to be one of their band members or someone affiliated with the band, right?
Yes, yeah. So this first book obviously does the main characters aren't anyone in the band. But I have a follow-up. The second book is actually a prequel, which will take place in the late 90s and kind of show this band since we've gotten to know them in the first book. And they're just these grumpy old guys that, argue with each other all the time and have this really obviously like not dark past, but it's obvious there's a lot between them. And so the prequel really does dive into that, and that follows the romance of one of the band members. And then the book after that follows the romance of the drummer of the band. And then the final book does still follow musicians, but it follows the opening band that has been on tour with them. So they're kind of weeded throughout the rest of the series. It follows their romance story.
Oh, neat. Yeah, so I'm guessing like these characters might be 40s or 50s, I guess
Mhm.
in present day.
Yes, yeah, present day, late 40s, early 50s.
Okay, fine. And I was about to say you seem much younger than me, but like the mid to late 90s was like my like prime. I shouldn't say that. I'm in my prime every year. But
Yes, absolutely.
but that was like my prime when I had the most time to do things like listen to music. So
Yes.
anybody that but the thing now is with me, I mean, my kids listen to music from the 70s now. I mean,
Mhm.
they love the yacht rock or whatever. So the great thing is anybody can go back to any genre that they want to now, which is so cool.
Yeah, well, and that was another thing that I wanted to really infuse in that story is especially with, when old songs get popular again, especially through things like TikTok and Instagram and social media. What does that look like, especially for these bands who not only have broken up, but haven't spoken to each other and are in completely different areas? And I just love 90s music. I grew up in the 90s, and so that just felt like a really fun place for me to kind of live and create, especially since I was creating this fictional band. And I wanted, because my husband is a musician, I wanted to have him help me actually write some actual songs and really base them off of, what grunge music sounded like in the 90s and what would this band sound like and what would they sing about. And so that was really fun to play around with.
So did he actually write some music and create it?
He
Oh
did,
my
yeah.
goodness.
So for the first book, there are 3 songs. 2 of them are original, like songs that they had written and recorded in the 90s, that, they're back out on tour performing. And then he also wrote a 3rd song for me, which gets explained throughout the story, but it's that the lead singer is writing while on tour. So yeah, and so it has like the lyrics in the back of the book, and the lyrics are sprinkled throughout, but like I have the full songs listed, and so yep, I have 3 songs for this one.
That's so cool. And are there links in the book that you can download or listen to the songs? Is that how it
I
works? Or you
don't
have
have,
hopefully you have to
yeah,
buy them. You
I
should,
don't have
yeah.
links for the recordings.
Mhm.
I'm working on it though, because that's my goal. And especially what I would love to do is add at least one new song per book so that by the end of the series, I have like a nice little album, I
Or a
guess. That kind of
CD, right?
matches. Yes, yeah.
An
So,
album or a CD.
yeah, something cool like that. So, yeah, I don't have the recordings available yet, but that is in progress.
That would be, yeah, that's so cool to be able to pair that with, yeah, because I love making playlists for all my books, just like the theme of what I'm thinking of. I go find a song and I'm listening to the music when I'm writing, and I
Mhm.
have some playlist on Spotify and SoundCloud or something somewhere that somebody probably doesn't really ever see, but I think it's fun.
Yeah, no, I do the same thing too. I consider that almost as like part of my outlining process is like playlist creation for each of my stories. It's fun.
Yeah, and then I go down a rabbit hole of looking for a certain song, and I'm like, I just lost 30 minutes doing that.
Oh, so that's like the epitome of being a writer is falling down so many rabbit holes.
Yes, yes. Well, this is very cool. Thank you so much for sharing your book. Tell everyone where we can find it.
Yeah, definitely. So, Dare You to Choose Truth. It's available through Five Prince Publishing. And so it can be found on the Five Prince Publishing website, which is fiveprincebooks.com. It's also on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and Ingram.
Fine. Well, and what is your website?
My website is Lipp Romance, Lipp romance.com.
Oh, fine. I just realized lip and lips
Yes.
and kissing. Is that why you chose that name, or
Yeah, so
it's
Lipp is
I like it.
actually it's not technically a pen name. Lipp is my married name.
Oh,
Um
okay.
and it just lends
It just
itself
fit.
so well. Yeah, I was like, well, I'm a romance writer, of course.
It was meant to be. It was
It was.
captured in, now I was about to say the stars, but in the music. It was meant to be in the
Yes.
music.
Yeah.
And do you have a title for the next book, which is a prequel? Do you have a title for that one yet?
I do. So the next book is called Cross Your Heart. And that one I am still in editing right now with my amazing editor. And so hopefully that will be out late summer, early fall.
Fun. Well, Lauren, thank you so much for being here. And please let me know when you release your next book, and we'll come and talk about that one.
Yes, thank you so much for having me, and I will definitely do that.
Thanks. Bye.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Finding the Magic podcast. I'm your host, author and podcaster Tricia Copeland, and I love getting behind the scenes. If you like the podcast, make sure to subscribe and stop in each week to discover new authors and books. Thanks for listening, and until next time, keep finding the magic.